Welcome back to JBSports. I'm your host, John Burton, and today is Wednesday, so you know it's all about the Wrestling Wednesday. Yes, there is no video for this podcast because a lot of stuff I need to set up for it that I have not had time to do, so you're going to get audio today. But doesn't change anything about how it'll be done. We'll still go over Raw, we'll still go over some of SmackDown, and maybe talk about some storylines coming up. One would just be a fun one, but we will get into Raw. So, of course, John Cena comes out. Everyone's booing him, of course, because, it's John Cena as a heel. No one likes him. No one likes him. No one likes him at all. So he comes out. He's about to start talking, and then Cody Rhodes' music hit, and you knew it was finally going to be the one time that they finally go back and forth on the mic for the first time, and then of course they'll have some moments after that, but it hasn't started like this since John's been back. It has not started like this. Cody comes out, and you can tell Cody was I wouldn't say nervous, but he knew he was going against. And if you've ever seen 8 Mile from the movie 8 Mile about Eminem, he took the B Rabbit approach where he talked about himself, talked about all the dumb stuff he's had to do, talked about all the dumb stuff that you know that has been put on him, the stuff he did. It's like, oh, you can make fun of me for my lisp, you can make fun of me for my characters, and yeah, took the B Rabbit approach. Basically, talked a bunch of trash about him, then talked about John Cena. Brought up the Mr. No Vince McMahon, which we don't talk about in wrestling. He brought him up. Cena kind of went on him. I wouldn't say that Cena buried him. I think a lot of people thought Cena would just absolutely cook him, but I'm gonna be honest. I think Cody held his own. I don't think that he did terrible. I think John was a little better, but it's John Cena. But I really do think Cody held up his own and did not get absolutely outshined like a lot of people thought he was going to be. Because a lot of people thought, and once the second he went against John, it was wraps for him, but it was not. He did very good, but yeah, he definitely took a B Rabbit approach to that. Next thing, the New Day versus the New Catch Republic. Best thing about this is that the New Catch Republic is back. Of course, it's London, so if they're ever going to come back, it's that. But Bate being back was fun. Loved the hairstyle he had. I thought it was a really cool hairstyle. I don't know why I need to mention that too much, but I just loved it. Um, Done. I I don't think that it's a mistake that the New Catch Republic lost. I mean, the New Day are supposed to be having their big, run right now as heels. I would have been okay if the New Catch Republic won, but I understand why it happened. It's great to see Bay back. Like I said, his airplane spin is always awesome. I love his airplane spin, but it it kind of sucks that they lost because I like Bait a lot, and I like Dunn, but I like Bait a little more. So seeing Bait back was great. Next thing, Gunther versus Jimmy Uso. The match was pretty dang good, but at the end of it, it's really what happened after the match. He beat Jimmy, beat him up a little bit, and then, of course, he went back to beat him up. Then, you know, he stopped, celebrated, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go back for some more beats on Jimmy. That's what's gonna happen. Goes back, is whooping the absolute tar out of Jimmy. It's bad. Jimmy gets busted open. Uh, Jay runs out to try to help him, and Jay also he fights him off for a crowd. Jay's not playing any games. He's not doing his little hops he does in his intro before he goes out to say so. And he's running out there, fights him off, goes to help Jimmy, and then gets handcuffed to the ring ropes. He gets handcuffed to the ring ropes, which I thought was kind of funny, but after that is what's the biggest thing. Gunther then continuing to beat Jimmy and putting him in a chokehold, and then wiping all the blood and then doing the little like just the small things where he like pretended to taste the blood and then spit it out like, oh, this is gross. Like he's such a good heel, and me and my friend were talking about it, and he was completely right. This is a absolute feud saver. Feud saver. This is what they needed. That Jimmy was the missing puzzle piece to this little solution to the problem they had. Which I like this match. I did think the feud was getting a little hard to keep going, which I love Jey Uso and I wanted this to do great. So I'm happy this is going great because I like Jey Uso. I know a lot of people hate on him, just hate on him, but it's just what happens, you know. But it really helped. You saw the horror on Jay's face when Gunther was choking out his brother. Feud Saver really gets a lot of people pumped about this, and I'm really happy that it went down like this. Next, Penta and Braun Breaker versus Finn and Dominic. Um, you know, basically it was just team versus themselves. Carlito was there, like always. Carlito's always just kind of there. So, you know, it that's basically it. Carlito's just standing there trying to get interference if he can. Then you had Penta and Braun both. I think Penta super kicked Braun at one point, and Braun speared Penta. But the Judgment Day do beat Penta, and Finn pins Penta, which it makes sense. It's kind of hard for Penta or Braun to get pinned, but if it's off of some square finish like it was, it's fine. I think that um, I think Finn. I know it's not a singles matchup win, but he kind of needed a win. I mean, it's been bad for him for a while. He's been losing and losing and losing. So I really, really like this for Finn. And I'm really happy that he can finally get something under his belt because he's just been in utter state of losing and just sadness. So great to see him get it. Also, Dom doing great, which I wouldn't be mad if he eventually became IC champion pretty soon because he's been a beast. Logan Paul, London hated him. I mean, to be fair, almost every time he goes somewhere they boo him, so I'm not surprised by it because it's Logan Paul. He's about the same in real life as he is on the screen. So it's not that hard for people to not like him. Uh, I think he had some real heat. Like always, he's been getting a lot of heat, which means he's doing his job really well if you can get the heat he's getting. Because it's been getting to Dom levels at some point. When Dom like first turned on Ray, like it's getting to that sort of level. So it's getting really, really big for him. But one thing I like a lot is Logan Paul's finisher, actually. The was it pulverizer is what I think it is. It's awesome. It's a really cool move. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know where he was going with it at first, but once he hit the move, it's great. Logan Paul versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania is going to be a fantastic match. Who do I think will win? I actually don't know yet. I'm trying to think logically. Like Logan has a bit of a longer career ahead of him, I think, than a lot of people want. But I think he's gonna actually have a few years in WWE. And AJ, he's getting older. This is probably isn't his last WrestleMania, but it's one of the last. So putting over some younger talent before his last year, I think would be okay. I know a lot of people wouldn't want him losing to Logan because it's AJ Styles, and I understand that. But you gotta bring in storyline. He's older, and how much it will do for Logan. It would be absolutely massive for Logan. So I think it's okay if Logan does beat AJ, which a lot of people won't agree with me with. So next, Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley with Bianca Belair as special guest referee. And as no one could have predicted, it ended in a double DQ, which everyone predicted because they know it's just going to be a triple threat at Mania, which is going to cook. But I think one of my favorite moments is Rhea headbutting Io in the air. That was wild. But um, you just knew what was going to happen. Bianca was going to be nosy. People were going to get mad, and then it's just Yeah, it's you know what was going to happen. It was a good match overall, but it everyone knew it was going to end in a DQ and something else was going to happen. So it's just what happens. But I think one thing I was going to say to the end of Raw to talk about was John Cena kind of going back in the ring to try to get a little hit on Cody, and Cody reversing it and putting him into a crossroads. I think that was fire. I think it was cool. Really starts to set a tone for it. John sold it well for his age and wear, but he did great. I absolutely loved what they did there, and I think that Raw has been great. And I think going into WrestleMania, people are going to understand how good this WrestleMania actually is going to be, and don't just complain about it because you got a lot of people complaining nowadays. And you know what? Everyone has their right to opinion, but there's a time where it's just straight complaining, and there's a time where it's an actual opinion. You know what I mean? And I think people are just trying to complain, especially IWC, but whatever. Um, SmackDown, you had John Cena versus Cody, and just another, you know, segment. It's just it's always what happens, and it's been fine. It's been some good promos. I like what's going on. I'm fine if they start the show each day. It's fine. Next, the Street Profits versus Pretty Deadly. Street Profits win. Pretty good match. I didn't. I was out on some moments of SmackDown, so I don't remember all of it, but it was okay match. Kaden Carter and Katana Chance versus Alba Fire and Piper Niven. Fire and Niven defeated Chance and Carter. Not surprised. I think this new was it Secret Hervis is the tag team name between those two. I think it's funny because it's a Secret Service for Chelsea Green, yeah. But it's like the American Mr. President get down type of thing. I think it's funny in that it should keep going because it's awesome. Um, LA Knight versus Braun Strowman for the U.S. title, ending in disqualification because your boy, you know him, you love him, Jacob Fatu. He's on his own timing. He does not care what Solo has to say. He does not care about Solo anymore. I feel, which is kind of fun to see because you want to see Jacob kind of go on his own. I think he could be definitely a mid card title holder and eventually possibly a world title holder. So sorry, a world championship holder. That's what I meant to say. I think that could definitely happen. So that would be great. Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. McIntyre defeats Orton. Good chemistry. It's a pretty good match. I'm not really surprised. Um, it's Drew McIntyre. He's on kind of a run right now, and I think it was a dirty ending. Um, but it's okay. A lot of dirty endings recently, but I don't really care. It's getting WrestleMania time. All that will be atoned for at WrestleMania. Next, Jimmy Uso versus The Miz. Uso defeats The Miz. Pretty good match. Love Jimmy. Love The Miz. It's all good. Then you have Reigns, Punk, and Rollins. And this is where I'm going to talk a little bit more on because I'm just going to say what I would like to happen. Basically, comes out, all three of them, contract signing. Roman and Seth don't really care what's on the contract. I'm going to be honest. They just signed it because they want to beat each other up. Roman hates Seth. Seth hates Roman and Punk just hates Seth. Like, CM Punk and Roman don't really have a real disdain, but they have a disdain for the other guy, and Seth just hates them both. So that's really it. Seth is the ultimate hater in this situation, but you know, Paul played a big moment here when you know, um, what was it? Paul was like whispering in his ear, like, "Hey, listen, you deserve this. This is your moment. You're finally gonna main event. You're finally gonna be the main event." And Punk was kind of crying because it's emotional, and of course it's gonna be his dream, his goal, the thing he finally wanted was to be the main event of WrestleMania. And I think it'll probably be those two main eventing, which I honestly hope they don't, My train of thought is this is my dream scenario. It really is. It's you have basically the way it went down. Seth and Roman just talking all their gibberish. Roman just saying, "Oh, it's the money." Seth saying he wants to actually like kill both of them, basically. In Punk, it's about getting back at them, but it's more about the moment for him. He wants the main event WrestleMania. So many people recently. Oh, you didn't. I've main evented Mania. What have you done? This, that. Sami Zayn has said that. Seth has said it. So it's really the only thing CM Punk wants is the main event. He didn't care who he was going against. He was just going to give someone the beats. You know what I mean? And the way this is my dream scenario of this playing out. It's basically what was on it. Seth Roman didn't care. They signed it, passed it off. CM Punk reads it, and without saying anything, the reason he's crying and the reason Paul Heyman says that this is your dream, you're finally going to main event, is that you have them three at WrestleMania, and it's not a main event. Surprisingly, it happens like in the middle of the show or like in the beginning, like the very first one, somewhere important. I don't care where it is, but somewhere where it'll like leave off with a bang. You know what I mean? And I think the best way it would happen is CM Punk reads it, and it's more of CM Punk. If you win this, you get put in the next night's main event against John and Cody. Let me reiterate this. I do not think this is going to happen, but this is what I want to happen. And he gets put in the main event because, you have Roman and Seth so distracted about just hurting each other because Seth hates them both, but let's be honest, Seth and Roman have the deeper beef than CM Punk and Seth do. So they're going at it. CM Punk sneaks in a win, and then maybe after that's when Paul aligns himself with Seth. Because I'm seeing a lot of rumors with that, and honestly, that would be fun. I would love for that to happen. I think that'd be great. But CM Punk does sneak in a win, which causes him to fulfill that part of his contract. But people think that's it for Punk. You think like, oh, he didn't main event. This is stupid. Come on now. But then they think, what's the favor? And honestly, the Seth thing wouldn't work now because if he, will turn himself. So take that away from the equation. But what happens is the night two happens. Everyone's still a little mad about CM Punk not main eventing, but they're getting over it. And John Cena, Cody come out, and the next thing you know, Paul Heyman comes out. He starts saying, "Oh, like, um, I've been in this business for X amount of years, and I've gained a lot of power, and I've gained a lot of pull here in WWE, and it appears to me that I still owe someone a favor." CM Punk's music hits, you know, the whole nine. Cult of Personality starts hitting, and CM Punk walks out. Everyone's going crazy. Everyone's going, oh my gosh, he is main eventing. Everything is going wild. People are cheering CM Punk, CM Punk. Cody is surprised. John Cena is even more surprised because he thought it was just going to be Cody. But this is like Cody's moment where he's like, wow, I thought I had to only go with John. Now I got to go against Punk and John, which the reason I bring this up is Cody and Punk had stuff going on before John got back. They had that promo battle where Punk was like, hey, I'm worried about you. I feel bad. Like, maybe this isn't the best. Maybe it's time for me to, take that championship from you. And he was kind of hinting at, WrestleMania, him versus Cody. And it didn't form, of course, because, John Cena turned heel, but this would be a way to kind of bring that light back up. And of course, I don't think this is going to happen. This is just what I want to happen. And I think it would be really fun. And I just think it would be a cool way to finally give CM Punk that main event. Because, of course, the triple threat would be fine for main event, but I really do think that they need to have Jey Uso main event because if Jey Uso does not main event at WrestleMania, people will never see him the same. His whole thing about winning the Royal Rumble, one, that everyone was sleeping on him, and two, that he is now actually main event Jey Uso because he will main event WrestleMania. If he doesn't main event, all of this has been for nothing. And everybody can have their hate, everybody can have their opinions, but this is going to be a good match. I really do, with my whole body, think this will end up being a good match. And if this doesn't happen and it's not the main event, there's no point to it. And I do think that and John Cena and Cody do need a main event. There's literally, I think, 3 matches that have the chance and probably should main event, but one of them's got to get cut out. You have Jimmy and Gunther. That's one that needs to main event. You have John Cena versus Cody, who I think needs the main event, and then you also have the triple threat, which has potential to main event because the people in it. You know what I mean? So one of them has to get cut out. And personally, with my little theory here, my fantasy booking, it would be the Roman, Seth, and Punk match, which I think it would be absolutely awesome if that's what actually happens. My friend Caleb, shout out to him, he's been on the channel before. He had a theory, which I thought was kind of cool, where um, John Cena retires right after winning, and then Punk gets put in the match as a nod to 2011. And I think that would be cool. And I think it would be even cooler if like John Cena came back as champion, kind of like how CM Punk did when he walked out. But it's all myths. It's all stuff that can happen. It's all stuff that would be fun. But really, you just have to wait till WrestleMania. I will do a prediction video like I normally do. I think it'll be fun. I'm gonna have someone on hopefully. I'm starting to line that up now, so we'll see if we have a guest with us. And I know I still do have to do a punishment for it, but I literally have not found any time or any place to do the punishment, unfortunately. So it'll have to keep waiting until I can find that perfect moment. But I think this round of WrestleMania is going to be special. I think there's room for concern. I understand there's some people who have mixed judgment on it and people who think that this might be a bad WrestleMania. I am not one of those people. I think it'll be great. I think it'll be hard to beat last year because last year's Mania was it was era defining. I think it made a new era for WWE, the Triple H era. So it's kind of hard to beat one of those naturally because it's a all-time great WrestleMania, but it's it's still going to be a good WrestleMania. I really do think so. I think some of the matches that are shaping up are going to be great. If Charlotte wins, I'm going to be really mad. But there's a video that comes out of I think it was an interview where she said that John Cena can beat her dad's record first, but she's going to beat John Cena. So I'm afraid she might win that title, and it's going to be sad because Tiffy honestly should win this match no matter what, in my opinion. I really do think she should win this, but it is what it is. Hopefully, if Charlotte wins, she can be interesting. I know that's been a kind of hard to do for her recently. She cooked Tiffy in an interview that one back and forth, so it's looking a little hard for Tiffy right now, but hopefully she can bring it back. But also one other thing that's huge, Ray Phoenix, he has been he's on SmackDown. That's it. It literally said Phoenix is on SmackDown. Rusev has been hired by WWE, so hopefully he'll come back and be big. Him versus Gunther is something we absolutely need. I feel like in a way Rusev was Gunther before Gunther, but not Gunther. You know what I mean? He kind of walked so Gunther could run. I think they're kind of the same type of wrestler, but Gunther just does it better. Rusev had some great days in him. Early WWE Rusev, fun, awesome. Like I love early Rusev with he came out in the tank at WrestleMania. Like that Rusev is the Rusev we need. Or Miro, like early AEW Miro. I think that would be fine, but that tank Rusev is the Rusev I want to see when he comes back. Aleister Black also some, promo packages playing. It's got to be him. It really makes no other sense. Maybe it's not him. So we'll see, but I'm pretty sure it's him. So you're gonna have that people. NXT, you had Ricky Saints. Ricky Saints. Got to keep putting that in my head because sometimes I call him Ricky Starks. But Ricky Saints wins the NXT North American Championship, and then after gets attacked by Ethan Page. So you have all those former AEW guys who are now on NXT, and you had Tony Fumble chants, which I thought were funny. I do think that Saints could have been all three of those guys probably could have been used in better light. So it's cool to see that. But you have WWE guys that WWE fumbled and went to AW and have been good. So it goes both ways. Like I've said before, I think the tribalism is kind of cringe personally. So that's just how I think about it, and we'll see what keeps going on because AEW's ratings are going up, so it's great for them. I only really pay attention to Tony Storm stuff. I really am excited to see Adam Cole wrestle because I think he wrestles soon. If I remember seeing on AEW's page, if he has, that sucks because I want to see him wrestle. But hopefully he wins the title because if anyone deserves a title in wrestling, it's Adam Cole, baby. So hopefully that goes well for him. I'm gonna try to see if I can watch that match, but it depends on how everything costs because college kid over here. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry that I did not post last week. Last week was a very long and very, very stressful week for me, so I apologize for that. But I am back and I am going to be posting. So stay tuned for some of the things I have planned and have a great rest of your Wednesday night. Be ready for Friday and bye. Subscribe.